You're tuned in to the Kansas City Weather Report, your daily source for the latest local forecast right here in KC. Whether you're planning your commute, weekend barbecue, or just trying to figure out if you need that extra layer, Wes has you covered. So let's dive into today's forecast.
Welcome to the Kansas City Weather Report. I'm meteorologist Wes Peary. Today is Monday, December 22nd, and here's what's up with the weather. This is it. It's Christmas week. Some of you are going to work. Some of you are not going to work. You will not be seeing me on TV this week. In fact, you probably won't be hearing me a whole lot over the next week or so. But, that's actually overall good because that means there's not a whole lot going on with the weather. I try to keep this podcast updated when, the weather is happening, like impactful weather happening. And that's just not happening. Of course, it's also a holiday. So that's the biggest reason overall. But this weather pattern bodes very well for travel really across much of the United States and definitely locally as well, except for maybe some minor hiccups in here as we approach Christmas Day. But let's get into what's going on outside this morning. It feels very comfortable. For December standards, it's a little breezy, but temperatures are near about 40 degrees. Some clouds floating around, and we'll get to about 60 for a high temperature this afternoon as the sunshine comes out more in full force later on today. So I know there's some clouds out there this morning, but I think we'll get a lot more sunshine later on. Lunchtime temperatures running near about 55 degrees, and again, it's about 60 this afternoon. Dinner time temperatures are still near about 50 degrees as well. For tomorrow morning, we'll start off near about 40, like 40 to 45 out the door. And again, another day, Tuesday, in which it's about 60 degrees for a high temperature. Man. Okay, now this is the part of the forecast that is at least, somewhat impactful. If you're driving really anywhere around Missouri, and then especially across eastern Kansas and northern Missouri, you may run into some pretty widespread and dense fog on Wednesday morning. It's at least going to be cloudy, but driving around, at any point really before noon, but early in the morning, the worse the fog will be or the more dense the fog will be, that may impact you. We're just getting warm air, moisture continuously pumping in from the south. Wednesday morning, it's about 50 degrees. That's so warm. About 50 degrees, and then it's about 65 on Wednesday afternoon. The record high temperature for Wednesday is 72 degrees, and that was actually set back in 2021. And I remember that because I was spending my holiday across parts of the Ozarks, and it was like 70 to 75 degrees for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Now, this year is not all that different, but to be warmer this year. Christmas Day, we may start off the day again with some clouds and some fog, but temperatures are again like 50 degrees outside. And Christmas Day, we're somewhere between 65 and 70 degrees for the high temperature. Now, the record high for Christmas, Thursday, is 67 degrees. So that is definitely in reach to set a new record high temperature for Christmas. Friday, the day after Christmas, still pretty warm. Temperatures in the morning near about 50 degrees. And we'll get to about 60 to 65 degrees for high Friday. The record high for Friday is 66 degrees. So we may be setting two record high temperatures here right around Christmas. And I know that is like the complete opposite of the holiday feel, right? You want snow or at least to be cold, to reinforce what you're seeing around you with everything Christmas related. But that's not going to be the case this year. Our last white Christmas was 2022. And so we got like 2 more years until we're due for another white Christmas. But at least everybody can go outside and, play some more like football outside with your family like you do for Thanksgiving. Play with the new toys outside. Positives. It'll get cold again, don't worry. In fact, we had a relatively mild December last year, and then we had an ice storm and then a blizzard. So what is happening over the next week does not have bearing on the overall winter, okay? I think there's still plenty more winter and snow and maybe ice to get through. So again, Friday, still pretty warm. And then Saturday, it's still like 60 degrees outside. It looks like this cold front finally gets through here. Man, and this is a long one. Finally gets through on Sunday. Sunday morning, it's like freezing, if not in the upper 20s. Then it's only about 35 to 40 degrees for the high on Sunday. And then it's like 40 to 45 for next Monday and next Tuesday. So just a week of warmth. And then we'll try to get back into average or normal territory. And the average high is like 41 degrees this time of year. And so even being 46 is cooler. That's what the forecast generally is, like 45, 46 for December 30th. Still pretty warm. And then, I mean, it still may be like 45 to 50 degrees into New Year's Eve and New Year's Day as well. But early January, there is a pretty good signal for it to be much colder, and therefore we'll get some wintry weather chances in there as well. Kind of around January 3rd to the 7th is what I'm seeing from some of our weather models at long range that are hinting at some snow then. When we're in a warm pattern, though, and we go from a warm pattern to a cold pattern, sometimes that in between is ice, freezing rain. So let's hope we just get snow out of this whenever we snap back into winter, which I guess technically started yesterday, but I mean, it always seems wrong that astronomical winter begins whenever you're 2/3 of the way through December. All right, recapping the forecast. It's about 40 to 45 degrees outside this morning. Temperatures today near 60, about 60 for Tuesday. Watch out for some fog Tuesday night through the first half of the day on Wednesday. Highs Wednesday near 65, about 65 to 70 degrees for the high temperature on Christmas Day on Thursday, and there might be some fog around for Christmas morning as well. Friday, again, about 60 to 65 degrees, about 60 for Saturday, then 30s to near 40 for next Sunday, Monday, and by Tuesday and Wednesday, and maybe back in the middle 40s. Thanks so much for joining me for this edition of the Kansas City Weather Report. You can find me on social media at West Weather. And if we don't talk before Christmas, Merry Christmas, safe travels, and thank you all again very much for listening to this podcast.